Hey guys, my name is Kenny Cannon. I'm the founder of Quad Core Advisors. I'm about to be on the Online Prosperity Show, and we are going to talk about sales and peace of mind.
Have you ever wondered why some people just talk about success while others literally go out and make it happen? On today's episode of the Online Prosperity Show, the number one place to get exclusive, no fluff insights into the minds of the people who have actually cracked the code, we're going to be diving into the world of high performance sales and business growth with someone who's been in it for nearly 3 decades. Now, Kenny, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, man. It's great to talk to you. It's great to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, the pleasure is all mine. And obviously, it will be for the people that are watching or listening to this, because my guest, Kenny Cannon, isn't just a sales strategist. He's a man who's actually trained hundreds of thousands worldwide, and he has built a Cannon training technologies and also Quad Core Advisors, where he's generated millions in revenue and still finds time to play hockey, shoot his ball, and show up for his family. Now, for a lot of people, that just sounds like, a page out of a Netflix series that never goes to air. But Kenny actually lives and breathes this. And it didn't just start like this. He actually left the corporate grind in 2008 when his daughter was born, not because the business was bad or anything was happening at that time, but it was because it was his life calling at that moment, and his life was actually calling him to be there for his loved ones. He wanted freedom, impact, and the ability to be at every sports game and school event, obviously for his family there. And along the way, he discovered something that might sting a little bit. And I must say, most people simply don't act at the level of the demand that their dreams actually have. And we're going to be exploring what that actually means and how it actually, entails for you to actually be, do, and have the life that you actually want. So today we're going to be unpacking how Kenny bridges that gap, helping people move from just wanting success to actually doing what it takes to get there. And somewhere in this conversation, we're going to be looking at how you are perceiving this information and what it is that you're going to do with the newfound knowledge in order for you to craft a business that's actually profitable and enjoyable. So if you've ever wanted maybe the inside track on selling more, building better systems, and also living on your terms, I think this is your episode. Now, Kenny, I could go on and talk about things that I'm not even qualified to talk about, and especially the fact that you're even here to let us know you've been selling your whole life. But I think it was in 2008, your daughter was born, which became the turning point. Let us know a little bit about what life was like before your daughter arrived.
Yeah, so I sold stock for a little while. Then I got into the mortgage business as well. Then I ended off my corporate, career in the car business. And I only knew how to sell over the phone. So the car business was kind of dumb because that's an in-person thing. But I wanted to learn how to sell in person, so that's where I went. And I turned right back to the phone. Because in a car dealership, you might not know this, but like on a Tuesday at 3 in the afternoon, there's nothing going on. So like there's people playing cards on the desk and everything. So I was calling Craigslist ads, and I was telling people to like come in. I can give you more for you. I see you have a 2005 Honda Accord for sale. Bring it in. I can give you more for it. Stuff like that. And I was selling cars that way. I was bringing people in and selling cars that way. So right before my birthday in 2008, I ended up getting a call into the sales manager's office, and I ended up getting fired from the car business. And I got fired. It's a little bit of a crazy story, but I got fired because I sold a car to someone that they literally didn't fit in. So the guy was like 6'7". I was selling Hyundais, and he was in a Hyundai Accent, and he was like laying back in the car. He drove home in it. He couldn't fit in it. And they ended up firing me because of that. In that meeting, the general sales manager of my dealership said, "We're firing you, but we want you to teach our salespeople how you do the phone stuff." And it ended up where it was a dealer group. I ended up teaching a lot of their dealerships inside the dealer group that model. And that's really where I kind of accidentally started my business. Through that, I started to put it on video recording and stuff like that and deliver it through the internet and everything else. And from there, I just built my entire training company off of that. And it's always been, I've taught other things, but it's always been about how to sell the deal and how to prospect. Because if you know those two things, everything else kind of just falls into place. Sales and prospect, if you know those two things, you're good to go. So that's kind of how I got my start. And, we kind of just been humming along ever since.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Kenny, for that. It's quite funny, the person who actually bought the car would have driven off the parking lot and didn't still realize that they they didn't fit in that car. It's quite
well, what happened was they had already signed all the paperwork. The car was in prep, and he was buying a Hyundai Accent, and I didn't realize that the car he bought had a sunroof in it. The sunroof lowers the roof by about 4 inches. He fit in the regular one, but the one with the sunroof he couldn't fit in. When it came around from prep, he had already signed everything. It was already his. And when he sat in it, it had a sunroof, and he couldn't fit.
I think
there was literally nothing we could have done at that point to get him out of it. Like, it was already a used car at that point. He already purchased it.
I think there must be some cartoon somewhere where they open the sunroof and they can drive from. Absolutely, but that's also just proof and testament to the fact that you were able to make these sales happen. But now you say when you were called in and they fired you, but then they rehired you in a much more better sort of position, which then led you onto your path. I mean, sometimes when things are happening to us, we don't realize that they're happening for us. Would you look at that particular incident as that sort of line of thinking?
100%. And I love what you just said. I don't think anything really happens to us. I think everything happens for us, and it's how we use it that's going to determine our future and where we go. But yeah, I mean, in 2008, like, people have to realize now in 2025, working from home is like not that big of a deal. Like, you can get a job and you could do something, you could sell stuff, whatever it is. It's not that hard to do. Back then, it wasn't like that. Like, you were either starting a business or you were going to an office. Like, those were the only two options. And I didn't want to have to continue into the office life because I had a daughter at the time. I still have a daughter now, but I just had my daughter then. And I wanted to be around for her. I wanted to be home. I wanted to be able to go to her school stuff and her sporting stuff as she got older. She plays softball. As she got older, I wanted to be able to do that kind of stuff. So I didn't want to miss anything. And I kind of always knew that I wanted to start something. It was just in that meeting where it was like, I had no intention of doing it then. And it just like, boom, it happened. So, and I always tell people, like, I am not an entrepreneur. I mean, I guess by definition I am, because I own 2 companies. I actually own 3, but I'm just a salesperson. All the business stuff, that's done by other people. Like, I don't know accounting. I don't know how to do LLCs and all that stuff. That stuff's kind of meaningless. It's done by other people. I just know how to sell stuff. And that's the number one skill that you need to know in order to blow up any company in the world. And I'm lucky to have that. So it was kind of accidental for sure. But that was my only path. Like, if I could have went out and got a closing job and made $150,000 a year in 2008, I would have just done that and been fine and totally happy with it. But that wasn't available back then. It was either start a business or work in corporate America. That was it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for saying that. And you're absolutely right. If you can't sell anything, you literally don't have a business, because, it is an exchange of value after all. Now, one of the
For sure.
things that really moved you towards wanting to be serious with your own endeavors was obviously you wanted to be there for your daughter's sports and things like that. And upon further digging, I've also realized that you're a sportsman yourself. Would that have had anything to do with you wanting to make sure that she actually, excels in the sporting arena?
For sure. I mean, I played hockey since I'm 5 years old. I took a little bit of a break, in like my late 20s, early 30s. Got hit a couple times and needed to slow down a little bit. But yeah, my athleticism when I was younger is what fuels my competitive nature and my need to have the standards that I have today, right? Because I didn't just play like hockey at the local arena or whatever. Like I played at a pretty high level. We traveled all across the country. My coach was we were 10U and my coach was screaming at us, win or like we're gonna get killed or what, like all that kind of stuff. So it was a very, very high pressure competitive environment, right? And I still have all of that today in business. And it's a positive and a negative because I expect a lot from people. And that's kind of not that good because I expect what I expect out of myself, out of others. And when they don't do that, that can create a problem. But I always, that experience that I had, especially when I was younger in a very highly competitive environment, helped me in business so much. And I'll tell you, a lot of the people that I played hockey with, not a lot, but there's a couple of us that are very successful in business that came from that same group of people. And, again, it's because we were brought up in such a highly competitive environment with very, very high standards. And I'm still friends with my coach from back then. And I always take the time out to thank him and tell him that, like, if it wasn't for that experience, I would not have been able to pull off what I've pulled off over the past 18 years for sure.
Oh, absolutely, and congratulations for that. Now, you see, with hockey, I've seen people play hockey and they take some really serious knocks, and there's punch-ons and things of that nature that happen within the sport, and I mean, be honest, what is actually tougher, being in the rink or the sales world?
Physically or mentally? Physically, definitely playing hockey for sure. I mean, my job was one of those guys. I was I was a defenseman, and my job was to protect the other guys on the ice. Or actually, I played roller hockey, so on the floor that we played on. So I fought, I hit. That's what I did. I don't do that anymore. I'm 42 years old. I play with my friends at a local thing, and it's just for fun or whatever. But yeah, back then it was like if you mess with one of my teammates, I'm the one that's coming off the bench, coming after you. Period. And so physically, for sure, that was a lot tougher. Mentally, I think in the beginning for me, the sales world was a little bit tougher. Now it's kind of just boring though. Like my life is very boring. It's not exciting. Like my business is not exciting. I don't wake up excited. I don't wake up passionate. It's when you say the same script for 20 years and hear the same objections over and over and over again, it's like, all right, I've heard I got to talk to my wife 4 million times. Like this is nothing new, So in the beginning, for sure, the mental tasks, the mental side of it is definitely more taxing on you. But, over time, it kind of goes away.
Absolutely. Now, when you obviously got started full time, you're coming from a place where everything would have been done for you. All you're doing is just the sales, right? And, which obviously you now got that side nailed, but you've actually admitted that of the organizational side, which is the paperwork, everything else that comes along with it behind the scenes was a challenge. How did you survive these early days, without the systems you now have?
But to be honest, I didn't worry about it. It didn't really matter to me. Like, I mean, the thing that's important is really just taxes. That's really it. And you have H&R Block for like $50. That'll do your taxes for you. So I didn't really worry about that at all. My whole thing was just basically sell ideas, right? Sell ideas and then create after the sale was done. That's basically what I did. So the first time I put together a training product, I just basically taught people how to sell stuff. And I launched it and we made $10,700 in 7 days with no name, no affiliates, no promotions, nothing. 10,700 in 7 days. And it was just me on a headset teaching people the script that I've been saying my entire life. That's all it was. And then I gave him some support email, whatever it was. And I sold it by just turning the camera on, no script, no nothing, and just doing what I know, which is how to sell stuff. So I just basically sold with my voice like I've always done. There was a camera in front of me, but whatever, it's the same thing. And I just sold with my voice like I've always done. And that product, I mean, back then that was amazing for me. I mean, I never thought that would ever happen. And that was pretty much it. So I didn't worry about any of the stuff like that. I mean, I've started many companies and most of them didn't have any websites. They didn't have social media presences. They didn't have any of those things because, again, if you don't have clients coming in, that stuff doesn't matter. Like, customer support is meaningless if you don't have customers to support. It's the most important thing in the world if you do have customer support, though. So I've always been focused on the sales side of things and kind of just letting everything else fall wherever it fell. That's pretty much how I got started. And it's pretty much what I do now, too. It's sales and support. So I make sure that my support is the best it could possibly be, because that's what people pay for most of the time. I make sure my support is the best it could be, and I make sure that my sales processes and my salespeople are the best in the world.
Absolutely. I think it was Wayne Gretzky, that said, a good hockey player plays where the puck is, and a great hockey player plays where the puck is going to be. And you've actually said that a lot of people are not willing to act at the level of what their dreams demand. What do you think that the gap between ambition and action is so common? And it looks like these people are not playing to where their puck should be, especially.
Yeah, so I mean, the real honest answer is marketing on the internet. That's the answer. So I'll unpack that a little bit, right? So when you go on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, whatever, what you're seeing is the guy with the Ferrari, rented, by the way, for the day for the video. And he's talking about how you can make $1 million a month from 2 hours a day worth of work, and you could drive a car like this. I'm telling everybody here that's impossible. If you're going to stay out of prison, that's impossible. You may be able to do that and go to jail, but you're not going to be able to do that and live an honest, good, fulfilling life. It's impossible. So that's all we're being shown. Every ad, every YouTube influencer, Instagram, whatever, that's all we're being shown. So the people see that and they're like, well, okay, let me buy this guy's program and see if it works, and spend 10 grand on that and it doesn't work. And then they spend 5 grand on another thing and it doesn't work. And then they just get into their mind that the instant gratification is where it's at, and they keep searching for it. And a lot of it has to do with this too. This is the worst thing ever. The internet, and not the internet specifically, but social media and all that stuff. It's the worst thing that ever happened to humanity, because it's teaching us instant gratification 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And our dopamine levels are so off that we can't put any work in. If I had to have people go out and in the 70s, 80s, 90s, this was, everyone did, a lot of people did this. If I told somebody today, go out and knock on 100 doors, they'd cower in the corner and cry like a child. Like they would never do it, right? But again, it's not knocking on the door, but something like that is required. It's knocking on the door, it's making the call, it's shaking the hand, it's getting in front of the person. And people just don't want to do that, but they want to make $1 million a year or whatever it is. Again, if you're happy with making 60, 70 grand a year and you want to be a school teacher, that's great. My mom's a teacher. That's fantastic. Just go do that. But if you want to make a lot of money, you have to do the things that type of income requires, which is getting in front of a lot of people and saying, this is what I have. Do you want it? Yes or no? Not those exact words, but something along those lines over and over and over again. And what I've found after coaching hundreds of thousands of people over the past 18 years, most people aren't willing to do that. But they still want the result, though. And that's the problem.
So you mean to tell me I need to cancel my order for the 6-minute abs course that I just signed up for, and the morning routine where I just need to put my face in a bucket of ice?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about fitness. I've been 155 pounds my whole life, so I don't know about fitness. But I will tell you that anything with 6 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, it's probably not going to work. Long term, anyway. Long term.
Absolutely. But you see, you're absolutely right, because people are coming to the internet to get information, and the ones that have made it cheaper, better, faster are the ones that are obviously tricking people for that instant sort of gratification. Now, would you blame the audience for that? Because people like yourself that actually know the truth might not actually be putting out that sort of information that is required.
I mean, I guess no, yes and no. I mean, that's like asking like, and this is tough, right? Do you blame the addict or the dealer, right? That's a tough question. I guess you kind of blame both. I'll be honest with you. I'm just lucky enough to have gotten involved in this way before all that stuff was there. And I
Mm.
kind of mentioned that before. Like, I couldn't just go out and get a closing job. Whatever. Like, this stuff wasn't around when I started. And I'm talking about when I'm 15 years old, not in 2008, because it was around a little bit in 2008. But I was selling on the phone when I was 15 in high school. So back then it was like, here's a piece of paper, here's the leads. You're going to say this to these people, and I'm going to give you $25 every time they say yes. That's it. And I just did my job. Like I worked at, like someone worked at McDonald's, they just did their job. To me, it was just a job. I just read the paper. And I was trained in that environment for 12 years before I even started anything. So I didn't know anything else other than just do the work that's required. I didn't know the 6 minute ab thing. Like I didn't know any of that even existed until probably 7 or 8 years after I started my business, let alone trying to start in that environment, right? And today people are trying to start in that environment and they just don't understand the amount of work, effort, and sacrifice that's required to hit the goals that a lot of people have. And again, it's I blame both. I blame the people that are dealing the stuff, but also like at some point you have to realize that like if it's too good to be true, it's probably not going to work for you. Like just realize that and just get back to basics.
Absolutely. But somebody might be watching this, Kenny, and they'll be like, but Kenny, that just sounds like motivational talk. You know what I mean? If anything, it's just to prep up and it's easy for you to say, like you say, because one, you've already made it. Two, you grew up in a time where there was not that much influences. How would you respond to something like that?
I think that's probably the most unmotivating talk ever. The motivating talk is like, you know, the Gary Vaynerchuk stuff, who I like, but like, listen, you're not going to go out and start a blog on golf and make $6 million a year, especially if you shoot 105 on the golf course. Like, that's not going to happen, right? What I'm telling people to do is go back to what has worked for hundreds of years, actually thousands of years. Go back to what's worked for thousands of years and at least for now, forget about the stuff that came out a week ago, right? Because everything that I do in life is based on thousands of years of history. It's not based on 2 weeks of history. Like, I'm not a big AI guy, right? A lot of people are. It's not proven enough for me yet. I still want to dial the phone and talk to the human. And I think that my customers like that as well. Are there AI bots that could do that for me? Yeah. Is it proven enough for me to stake my entire business in? Absolutely not. I'm going to hire a human being to do that. And I'm going to continue to hire a human being to do that for a very long time. So I think going back, basic and boring works, right? And people want like the new and the sexy and the flashy. And that could work sometimes. I don't know because I don't do it. But basic and boring will always work. You talked about the ab thing before, right? I'll tell you right now, the 6 minute ab thing may work. I don't know. But what I do know 100% works, eating clean, walking every day, and doing some sit ups. That'll work every time. Like, no matter what you do, no matter who you are, that will work every single time. It's proven for thousands of years. So, does the new shiny thing work? It might. But the old thing that's been proven for thousands of years works every single time.
Absolutely. So maybe let's break down a little bit of what it is that you are talking about, because for somebody who's
Sure.
maybe just getting started today, all they see is exactly what we just spoke about, the things that were recorded last night. And they don't quite know, how far back into the internet they need to go in order to find, the what they call first order principles or things that would actually help them level up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think first of all, like, it's not about how far you go back into the internet. It's even deeper than that, right? So can I just go like real deep with it just so people understand? Is that all right?
Absolutely. That's what
Okay.
we're here for today.
Okay. So if you look throughout history, right? Before the last probably 20 or 30 years, maybe 40 years, everything was done the same exact way. And I'm talking about from a sales and communication perspective, right? It was always like, if you look back at the founding of America, like the 1700s or whatever, it was like the local shoe guy was known as the shoe guy. And he went out and said, hey, you got broken shoes? I can fix your shoes, right? In today's world, it's like, wait, you're the shoe guy, but let's not do that part. Let's build a website. Let's optimize it. Let's do Facebook. Let's do Instagram. Let's do content. How about we just find people with broken shoes and say, hey, I'm the shoe guy. Let's just fix it. And then once you get 30, 40, 50 of those, then go out and do all the other stuff. Fair enough. But in the beginning, to get your stuff off the ground, do the basic and boring stuff, knock on the door and say, this is what I have. Do you want it? That's what starts. And for me, that's what continues to grow. But for most people, at least, that's what's going to start your thing. Then you can go do the fancy stuff. You'll find out it doesn't work. And you go back and talk to the people again. But the start is again, it's been proven throughout history. Every single thing in history is done the same exact way when it comes to communication. Jesus, one of the oldest people that we could study, right? What did he do? He said, society has a problem. He knocked on doors and he said, I can fix it. What do I do today, 25 to 2,000 years later? I have a problem. Knock on the door or call them. I have a problem. You have a problem. I can fix it. Here's how we're going to fix it. Do you want it? Yes or no? It's the same thing that's been done for 2,000 plus years in every single society on the planet. And for some reason, in the past 25 years, we want to change all of that. We want to automate it. We want to do it with software. And it could work and it could be easier. That's fine. But when you start, do the basic and boring and proven thing, and then automate and get fancy after you've started already.
Like that. And, for those that are finding it hard to understand, if you really look at it, so many names or last names that we now all have were derived from the trades that the people were actually doing at that particular time. If you know somebody with the last name Carpenter, if you know somebody with the last name Smith, if you know somebody with the last name Baker, somebody with the last name Cook or Fletcher or Butcher and things of that nature, that meant that your role was what preceded you and the reputation that came from that. Like what
That's
Kenny
right.
says, it wasn't about a website or anything else. Is what you did at that particular time, solving problems and helping people be, do, and have a happier existence. But we might also want to argue here, Kenny, that was then. Technology is now making things cheaper, better, faster. Why would I still want to maybe do the Flintstone way when there's an electric car?
Because the Flintstone way always works. And I'll give you a very good analogy and a very good example. I have a 1995 Ford F-150. Never breaks. Right. The new car has a software problem. It's in the shop for 3 weeks. The new car has a chip that needs to be replaced, a sensor that needs to be replaced. The battery breaks. The charger breaks. No. I want the 1995, and I have it. It's a red 1995 F-150. I want that truck forever because it never, ever, ever breaks. And if it does, it's a wrench and a $20 part. Right? So again, the fancy, cool stuff, it could work. It might. But I know the old stuff always works. So I'm going to at least start in something that I know always works. And then I'll fancy it up later on if I need to. But in the beginning, I'm going, like the exercise stuff, right? If I'm 300 pounds, I'm not starting at the gym. I'm starting on the road walking a mile a day. And I'm cutting down my calories a little bit. The basic boring stuff that's been around for centuries. Then I'll go and try the fancy gym workout or the new, CrossFit thing or whatever. Once I get started. But the problem is when you look at someone trying to start a business, they look at today's world and they say, okay, business. I need an LLC. I need a website. I need Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I need all this content, everything else. And that's really overwhelming. I say you need an idea and you need people to talk to. That's it. If you have those two things, your business is good to go. Now just get in front of those people that you want to talk to and say, this is what I have. Do you want it? Yes or no? And again, those aren't the exact words, but you just got to get that point across. And then some of them are going to say yes, some of them are going to say no. And now your business is started. Now, once it's started, then you could start automating and getting fancy. But in the beginning, it's so overwhelming to do all those things. And then most of the time they all break anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
Absolutely. Now, you see, fish don't see the water that they swim in, and especially if people are following what the Joneses are doing, every other person who's in business is doing X, Y, and Z. And maybe some people are very fearful of going against the grain. Where can people start? Like, what can somebody really do in order to obviously not be fearful of thinking I might be run over by the competition if I'm going the Flintstones route?
So well, it's the opposite. You're going to get run over by the competition if you do everything else the competition's doing, right? I'll tell you right now, we knock on doors, we make phone calls, we have no competition. If we went to cold email, if we went to cold DM, we'd have competition all day long. They get emails every single day. They get DMs every day. They don't get calls from people like us every day. They certainly don't get people knocking on the door anymore. That doesn't happen. So the competition happens when you're running Facebook ads. The competition happens when you're starting a YouTube channel or you're trying to put out content. That's where the competition is. It's not in my space. I have no competition at all because no one's doing it my way. Nobody. So when I make a phone call, when I visit an office, I'm the only one there. I'm the only one contacting them because everyone, again, like you said, is fearful of doing that. And let's touch on that a little bit. It's very hard for me to address the fear of the sale or the fear of the call or whatever because I've never experienced it. I've never been afraid to make a phone call. I've never been afraid to pitch somebody. I've never experienced it. So it's very hard for me to talk about it. But what I will say is this. Everything in life that's worth doing is usually a little scary. And it's like, look, if your goal and vision is strong enough, you're going to push through that fear to get it. If the goal and vision is not strong enough, you're not going to push through that fear. I never had a fear of selling, but I did have a fear of going out on my own when I started my own company in 2008 by accident, like we talked about before. But my want, need, or desire to be with my daughter all the time was stronger than the fear. So that pulled me through it. But if your visions or wants, needs, or desires aren't strong enough to pull you through the fear, you need to get new ones. It's as simple as that. Like if it's strong enough, I'll give you again another analogy or example, and it's kind of dumb, but if let's say you're deathly afraid to like talk about something that you're doing, whatever it is, right? And you had a friend of yours that was a dear friend of yours. You loved them to death. They've been your best friend your whole life. And that person literally was dying if they didn't have your thing. Would your fear stop you from giving him the thing, or would you just like let him die? Like, see what I mean? When the want, need, or desire on the other side of the fear is strong enough, it will pull you through it. If it's not pulling you through, it means it's not strong enough on the other side. So the fix to fear is to get stronger motivators on the other side of it.
Literally, I like that. And it's like you're asking someone, who are you if you're going to stop yourself from helping that other person be, do, and have that which you're holding on just because you're afraid of, that rejection or whatever it is. But maybe let's look at it this way. So I'm just going to pause the question back to you, as in you've coached countless people, and like you say, you would have asked yourself the question, who am I to stop myself from helping this person, achieve whatever the goal is? Is there some sort of a hidden pattern that you might see in the ones that who end up succeeding versus the ones that just maybe disappear in the bleachers, that you would look at and say, you know what, I will give my all to this person so that they can actually see what they don't quite see in themselves right now?
Yeah, so there's definitely characteristics that I can tell after 5 minutes of meeting someone if they're going to be. I believe that everyone can do it and everyone can make it, but there are some that have a like they just have it. They just have it. You could tell by talking to them. They have good camera presence. They have a good voice inflection. They have good tonality, pace, and structure in their wording and their communication. They understand how it's done. And for some people, it's just natural. It's just natural. And I usually try my best to give everything to everybody. So even if I believe that you don't have it right now, I do believe that everybody can learn it. And I also believe, it's a little controversial, but I also believe that everybody does know it naturally. It's just been trained out of them. So if you want to talk about that, we can. But my job is to train it back into them and teach them how to use what they already know in a business or sales environment. It's not really to teach them anything new. There are a lot of people though that already they never lost it from when they were a child. They never lost it, and those people usually do well. They don't need me most of the time. I don't really meet those people very often because they're already out doing their thing and they don't really need the things that I have. So most of the people that I work with are the people that have it naturally, but it's been trained out of them, and I need to train it back into them and teach them how to use it in the business environment.
I like that. And
But I will tell you though, I don't want to cut you off. Sorry. Everybody in the world is a natural born salesperson. Everybody.
that's absolutely correct. And especially for those that have kids, they would know that you can never walk out of a negotiation for a lollipop with a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old. It's like a hostage negotiation, you know what I mean? Or if you promise something and you don't deliver on that, they will remind you.
Yes.
And it works out like that. So let's just talk about your business at the moment. You quite cool advisors, and let us know a little bit about what it is that you offer and what do people come to you for.
So Quadcore Advisors is a lead generation company. We generate leads mainly in the solar and insurance space, and we also do call center management. So we run all of our leads, all of our lead generation is from overseas call centers in Pakistan, Philippines, places like that. And we generate leads for pretty large companies. To be honest, I can't offer anything to anybody with that company at all because we have 3 clients and that's all we work with. It's a very exclusive type offer that we have. And the call center management is the same thing. But all I really did was I took my expertise in sales and prospecting and I solved the biggest problem that every business in the world has, which is, it's really their only problem, which is they don't have enough people to talk to. That's really every business's only problem, is that they don't have enough people to talk to. And I basically solved that problem through using overseas call centers and a script and leads and stuff like that. And that's what we do.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, with the people that you're working for, you've definitely completely turned a client's results around. Could you maybe tell us, the any sort of successes that you've enjoyed in this company so far?
Yeah, sure. So we have, like I said, we have 2 solar clients right now, and we have an insurance client as well. A digital marketing agency that we work with as well. We're looking for a 4th, insurance. Very difficult to find, but we're looking for a very specific type of insurance agency that we just can't find right now. That's a long story, but yeah. So our solar companies, they went from 700 leads a month when they started with us. Now they're at about 3,000 leads a piece, or 3,000 leads total a month. Our digital marketing agency started off with 100 leads, and now they're at about 500 leads or something like that. So the growth is there, and it's super profitable for our clients. But we do what's called completing the circle. It's very, very important to me and everything that we stand for in our company. And basically what that means is, in order for me to run it effectively and run everything that I do effectively, I need to make sure that everyone involved in the transaction is happy, meaning our company makes money, my client makes money, but then I take it another step, which is I need to make sure that the end user of my client's thing is happy as well. So it's not just enough for me to sell a lead to a client and have them close that lead and make money and then my hands are clean. That's not what I look at all. I need to make sure that the end user of the solar panel is super happy with the solar company that I'm working with. I need to make sure that the end user of the digital marketing services with the agency that I work with is super happy as well. So everyone involved in the transaction must be happy. And I believe, especially in my business, in the lead generation business, that's how you really blow it up quickly. Because if the end user is happy, my client is getting good case studies, testimonials, results, and all that, their closing percentage will go up because of that, and then they'll buy more leads from me.
Absolutely.
That's basically how it works.
Absolutely, and I like that. It doesn't just end with your client. You actually want to go further to make sure that their client is also happy. But with the way that you're doing, and from the sound of things, you obviously go in, re-engineer the way they've been doing stuff. And especially with really big companies, half of the time they don't want to change how they've always been doing, even if it's costing them money, time, effort, and resources. Have you ever maybe had a client who just refused to change their ways, and how would you have handled that especially?
Yeah, all the time. So everyone that I've ever worked with, including in my training company, and everything that I've ever done, it's always been like that. I can go all the way back to selling stock. I don't want to change my broker, right? I can go back to selling cars. I want to stick with Honda. You sell Hyundais. It doesn't make a difference what you're doing. If somebody comes to me and they say to me, I don't want to change what I'm doing, or some form of that, right? All I tell them is, don't. That's perfectly fine. I'm not here to ask you to change what you're doing. I'm not here to ask you to re engineer your whole company. I'm not here to ask you to fire anybody. What I'm here to ask you to do is put me up against anything you're currently doing. If I win, we talk future business. If I don't win, keep what you have. Totally fine.
Absolutely. And obviously, if people want to learn and are interested in what it is that you are doing, where can they find you on the internet?
Nowhere. No, I'm kidding. You can go to YouTube. I have a very small YouTube channel. You can go to kennycannon.com. You can find out information there. I have a lot of sales training on there completely for free that all of you can have and take. And, sales is very basic. It's very simple to do. It's not hard. So there's no reason to have some big training course on it. I just give it all away for free on my website, kennycannon.com. You can go there and get that. And here on the Prosperity Show.
Absolutely, definitely. We'll make sure that
Come here, watch these videos. These videos are really good. Preparing for this show, I watched like 5 of these episodes, and they're fantastic. Every one of them is really good.
Well, you've added one to the list again, because so many people are always umming and ahhing, looking for the thing that will cut the corners and cut this learning curve. Yet, there's so much that needs to happen and be put in order for them to actually succeed in life. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the other thing too that I'll say real quick is like I've found throughout my life, and I don't know if this is true for everybody, but for me, it's definitely been true. Like some of the best things that I've seen, heard, read, or whatever, it's been from people that like I don't believe you're going to find the best podcast on Joe Rogan. I've heard those people that go on his show 1,000 times. Like, what am I going to like? Am I going to listen to like Jocko Willing for the 1,000th time and pick up something new? Probably not. It's the people that are kind of a little under the radar that you got to pay attention to. I know a guy who owns a company that does probably about $100 million a year. Nobody knows who this person is. And his YouTube channel has like 120 subscribers, 125 subscribers. He interviews the CEO of Cisco, of Pepsi, and nobody knows the guy. And I'm like, why are you listening to these 25-year-old life coaches that rent Ferraris and houses all day long to shoot videos? And you're ignoring this dude. Like, this guy's giving you real advice. And I kind of got that feeling. I mean, you have a bigger following than that, obviously, but I kind of got that feeling when I was here. Like, if more people watched some of your stuff and ignored some of the bigger media stuff, a lot of people will be better off.
What you just spoke about there is first principles. And in the world we live in, we're always sold on the bigger, better, and safe. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing that you're bringing to the table as well when it comes to the sales, that it's not what is being sold as the newer, faster, shiny object. Is going back to first principles that will actually make it you successful. And I think that's the reason why so many companies have maybe been less successful, because they're always looking for the next big thing instead of looking at first principles. I'll give you a specific example. There's an accounting firm that we started working with, and they came in and said, we look at our competitors, and our competitors are getting much traction with, let's just give an example, mortgage brokers or people that are a new industry, or buyer's agents. So we want to start attracting those types of people. And when we looked at their book, we noticed that their biggest customers were people that just came in for a personal tax return. And those are the people that will talk about them the most. And they wanted to go away from the original story that built their firm and wanted to go on for something that was going to kill them immediately. And I don't know, maybe you can comment on that a little bit, because so many people don't quite look at their origin story, and they want to look at what their neighbors are doing, and they miss out on what's really important for them.
Yeah. So my neighbors think I'm a drug dealer or something. I don't know what they think because I dress in sweatpants and from Temu every day, and like I have a 1995 Ford F-150. I live in $1 million home on 2 acres of property. It's the only thing I've ever spent money on, really. But like I'm always home. Like I don't know. I don't know what they think I do, but it's weird. I will tell you this: I don't care what my neighbors do. I like my neighbors, but I don't really care what they do. It doesn't matter for me. What I care deeply about is true freedom in life
Mm.
and having the biggest impact that I possibly can have without having to do the things. A lot of times, it's weird to say, but like a lot of times that are required to have the big impact. So, what I mean by that is like what draws a lot of eyes is the Ferrari, Lamborghini, and all that. That draws a lot of attention. I'm not willing to do that, but I still want to have as big an impact as I possibly can. That's what drives me. And completely different topic, but I will just go on this really quickly. 90% of people that watch this, if you did this, guaranteed success. And you could take any form of this you want, but just understand the principle. If you put a lawnmower in the back of a pickup truck and you walked around your neighborhood, drove around your neighborhood, and you said, "Hey, your lawn is long. I can cut it right now for $50. You want me to come back this afternoon? You want me to do it now?" If you did that and you knocked on 100 doors a day and cut 10 lawns a day or whatever it is, your chances of success are almost certain. On the other hand, if you were to start some AI agency based thing where you had to run paid ads or whatever, your chances of success are like 1 in 10,000. And that's just the truth. Like it is what it is. Like you don't have to say like, I don't want to be a landscaper. Be a painter. It doesn't make a difference. All I'm saying is those basic and boring things work almost every time. And the new stuff works sometimes, but your chances of success are very, very small. In my business, I have a training company that I run, like product launches and stuff like that, webinars, whatever, that type of stuff. In that business, the chances of success are almost zero. Like there's one Sam Ovens, there's one Dan Henry, there's one Alex Becker, there's one like, and I know a lot of those guys, right? There's one of them. Mike Phil Same is a friend of mine. There's one of those people. Like the chances of you breaking into that business are virtually 0%. Like it's not most likely not going to happen. And the only reason why it happened to me was because I sold cars at the same place, the same dealer group, not the same dealership that Mike Phil Same did. And he was one of the biggest internet marketers back then at the time. He took me into his office and taught me everything he knew. That's why I was successful in the training business. If I had to do it myself, I would have never been successful at it at all. I didn't know how to do it. But I could have been successful at knocking on doors and selling a painting service, knocking on doors, selling a landscape. So that basic stuff works every single time. The fancy stuff is harder. So don't worry about keeping up with other people, what other people are doing. Worry about what's good for you and your family and whatever impact you want to have on the world in your own little corner of the world. Focus on that and don't worry about what other people are doing. And whatever you need to do to get that, you have to go out there and do it. And it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be flashy most of the time, but it is what's required to get the thing that you want at the end of the line. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but
No,
yeah.
I concur with that. I mean, it's all to do with first principles. You know, so many people want to cut those corners and not do the work that is required. And,
Yes.
you know, that's the reason why they now end up with nothing but a bill, you know, after having tried all those things, but they still have to pay for whatever ads or things that they would have wanted to, you know, shortcut. But if you would go back, maybe if you look at young Kenny in those early days, what part of that guy still shows up in you today? I mean, even though you older now, wiser now, you now know, you know, how to do certain things.
Yeah, so the competitive nature, the super unrealistic high standards, those two things show up every single day. And there's a lot of things that don't show up anymore. You know, I'm if you want me to go into details about this, I can. But I was in the stock business on Long Island in the early 2000s. Go watch Wolf of Wall Street. Like I was there. Like that. You know, I never did drugs. I never drank. I never did any of that stuff. But I was in that environment. So I was taught very early on in life, and I mean this literally. You say whatever you have to say to get them on the phone. You say whatever you have to say to close the deal. When I started my business, I made a very conscious decision to get away from all of that. And everything that we do, even if we lose business about over it sometimes, which we do, honest, ethical, moral, every single time. Like over the top. So I left a lot of stuff behind. But the things that still show up for sure are the competitive nature that I have and the very unrealistic, super high standards that I have for myself and the people around me. And again, that's a positive and a negative.
Absolutely. And yeah, I remember those days, 2000, that was Y2K days, right? When every clock was supposed to not go
Yeah.
past the zero
We
zero.
all like stood around on New Year's Eve and like nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
And it was funny because I'm in New York, you're in Australia, and I remember like watching. I'm like, okay, Australia made it. Like
Yeah.
they're ahead of us. They made it. So there is a tomorrow. We're good.
Absolutely. Now, I mean, obviously we've touched upon a lot of things, and maybe this might sound like we're repeating, but for somebody who's listening right now and they're stuck between wanting more and actually doing more, what would you suggest to be the first smallest step that they can take today to really start closing the gap between wanting more and actually doing more?
Figure out what you actually want and do that. Guys, look, it's as simple as that. Like I'm a big like anti-social media person, and I don't want to make this whole thing about that, but like you are being brainwashed to believe that in order to have freedom in your life, you need a Ferrari. You don't. Most people watching this show right now, or watching it on YouTube or replay, whatever, most of you watching this can have everything you want in life on like $8,000 a month.
Yep.
That's not hard to do. Like you can do that from home in 4 or 5 hours a day, and you can make 8, 10 grand a month. And most of you watching this will live a really, really good life on that amount of income. Some of you may want more, that's fine. But again, it's about what do you actually want in life? Do you actually really want to make $1 million a year? Do you understand the stress and the heartache and the lack of sleep that comes along with running a company that does $10 million a year? You don't, because it sucks. My life is not great. I'll tell you right now. I go through the amount of stress that I deal with every single day. I get 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night, and I'm like a freaking zombie all day long. It's not what you think it is at the other side. It's not. I would today, right now, give up what I have for. I mean, my living expenses are a little high, so I got to kind of alter the numbers a little bit. But I'll give up everything I have for 20 grand a month and pure peace in life. And I make a lot more than that every month. But I'll give that up for peace. What most people want is peace of mind. They want peace. They want less stress. And every time you add a zero to your income, your stress level goes up. Every time, no matter what it is. So figure out what you really want, which for most of you is going to be peace of mind. Figure out what that is, and then go after that. Don't worry about, we talked about the neighbor stuff before. Don't worry about what social media influencers put on his Instagram account. Worry about what you truly want in life, and for most of you, it's peace of mind. And peace of mind for most people in the world, I don't even want to talk about the world. In America, where I live, peace of mind financially, 7, 8 grand a month from home. Absolutely. And that is not hard. That is not hard. In today's world, that's not hard at all.
Absolutely. And I think even here in Australia, you will be, well and truly good at that sort of figure, because all you just need is really money to open whatever doors are in your life, be it your front door, car door, office door, school door, church door, whatever door you need to open. And if you can manage that on a monthly basis, that's really what's needed in life. And man, I can't thank you enough. I know we could go on and on. We're from pretty much the same school, although I didn't play hockey, but I did play Hard Knocks. And you're absolutely right about social media. It really presents a world that is unattainable, and it's done obviously by design. And yeah, that could be yet another rabbit hole we could jump into, but I'm really excited for this. Now that you've brought us into your world, Kenny, and obviously we now want to learn more and find out more about you. What's next? What are you working on that we can be excited about? That you also excited about that you want to share with us?
Peace of mind.
Mm.
Getting away from all this within the next 3 to 5 years. Selling everything, being done by the time I'm 50 years old. I'm 42 right now. Being completely done by the time I'm 50 years old, and just focusing my life on impact, not income at all.
I love that.
It's not about growth. Look, I'm not Grant Cardone, man. I don't know how the guy lives. I respect the guy, I like him, but I don't know how he lives. I can't. For me, that life is miserable. I don't know how somebody has a million followers on social media and they're happy. To me, that's miserable. I purposely don't like. I could have followers and do public stuff. I don't do this stuff like this ever. I just don't like it. For me, it's peace of mind. Peace of mind. You talked about information, knowledge. Not information for me. Knowledge, taking information and turning it into knowledge by doing what I'm learning. Knowledge, discernment, wisdom, peace of mind. That's what's
Absolutely.
exciting in the next 5 years for me. It's not a new car. It's not a new house. It's not. It's peace of mind. Peace.
Absolutely. You see, Kenny, I don't normally do this, and you've probably seen in my show, but what you're talking about is exactly what I wrote about in this book, where you disconnect from everything and anything that is just out there designed to take your time, money, and attention. And I can't thank you enough for the call that we've actually had today, because your life story and your experience have so much value for a lot of people that are just really wondering out there, hoping something would turn up from the internet slot machines that we're um that we just keep scrolling and thinking something
Yep.
incredible is going to come out of that. But yeah, thank you so much for your time today, man.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that's it for today's conversation with Kenny Kenyon, and it's proof that sales mastery isn't just about magic scripts. It's about matching your actions to your ambitions. And if you've been sitting on an idea or maybe waiting for a perfect time, maybe this was your sign. I encourage you to actually watch this video back. I know we touched up on a lot of stuff, but the one main thread is you can have a happier existence if you just give yourself permission to. And that's one thing that not a lot of us are able to see. And it's people like Kenny that might just come into your space once in a while to just shake you a little bit and say, hey, you stop that. All right. And if you've enjoyed what we're producing here on the Online Prosperity Show, I encourage you to subscribe, because next week we're going to be talking about ideas that will actually allow you to have a happier existence, and you won't want to miss this. So what I'm going to encourage you to do today is just think of one person in your circle who keeps talking about success but hasn't yet taken the leap. I encourage you to share this episode with them. It might just be exactly what they need to hear. Until next time, bye for now.
To me, that's miserable. I purposely don't like. I could have followers and do public stuff. I don't do this stuff like this ever. I just don't like it. For me,